We're live.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Instruction and Support Services Committee. My name is Rob Trevor. I'm the chair. Next to me is Albert Benahan Grajales. It is 5:30. We are convening this meeting. We also have in attendance Mr. Willie Medina. I do not see, oh, yes, Mr. Andre Woodson has just joined us. Good evening, Mr. Woodson. Ms. Maritza Estremera Jimenez is also with us. So on tonight's agenda, the first item is the approval of the minutes dated August 27th, 2025. I have a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved, Mr. Benahan.
Moved by Mr. Benahan, seconded by Mr. Traver. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Woodson, are you voting?
Aye.
Aye. He votes too, so moved. All in favor, we pass. No abstentions, no opposed. The minutes are approved. I'm beginning this meeting by letting everybody know that I'm on a fast track here to get done. I have to be out of here by 7:20. Anything we don't deal with on tonight's agenda, we'll table and move to the next meeting. If we have to, if there's something that has to be dealt with sooner, I'll move to it sooner, but I have personal commitments starting at 7:30 tonight, so just being upfront with everybody about this. The next item on the agenda is, yes, apologize. Mr. Benahan Graham asked me for a point of personal privilege to start the meeting. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, sir. I know we all received a very sad email today, and I'd like to get a minute silence because we lost a student from Bristol Public School. So please, I'd like to have a minute of silence for and pray for the family. They're going through a very difficult situation, please. Thank you, everyone.
Benahan Graham, very sad moment for our district. So the next item on the agenda is the debate team grant update. I assume giving us that report, sir?
Yes, we put in paperwork for a field trip. The debate team received a large grant courtesy of Senator Yadkar Wilcox this summer to support the debate team. And one of the things that we want to do for the past 10 years is to get our students to travel tournaments where they can get a better competition and, all the other benefits that go with traveling. So we sent in the packet where we go the weekend of the 7th. It's Veterans Day weekend. We're actually leaving the 6th, and we're coming back Sunday. We're taking 8 students with us.
Okay, so it's the same thing as item 3 on the agenda. It's right up there.
There was a, we're gonna do it's a combination,
I'm sorry, that is.
but it's urgent, he's number 3, she'll go first. It's the debate, we did receive a grant from Mars, gonna talk about that.
I did not.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Okay.
We received a grant for $75,000 for this year, awarded by the state. It's to develop and fund the debate team, doing as many debates around the country. It includes coaching, judges, as well as supplies that they might need for their work. And the first debate is in Washington, and that's item number 4.
Okay. Apologies, you should have been on me when I first started. I didn't mind it.
My fault as well, sorry.
That this is still something that was worked out through Senator Yadkar Wilcox.
Yes, absolutely.
As I said,
Very
yesterday in the message, she herself and her husband apparently met debating, and I'm hoping she can make it to the regular board meeting when this item goes on to the regular board agenda, and we can celebrate with her this grant. Since she was so instrumental in getting it to us, that would be nice. So anything else on this item?
I'd just like to, if I could thank Mrs. Hoffman and the superintendent. They've been instrumental in really pushing this. A lot of paperwork, a lot of hills to climb, and they're doing a nice job for us. So we really appreciate it.
And Ron, we're very excited for you and the team, and this is a great pick me up for the debate community, and so we want to see great things happen. They're really wanting to make sure we get more of our young people to be, instrumental in understanding and learning how to advocate and do. And this is a great start, and so we're very, very excited and proud that they were able to provide. This is a large amount of money. And so it will give the kids and staff an opportunity to really showcase Bridgeport across the country. So I'm looking forward to that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. The only thing I can say is I know when my son was eight years old, he was his teacher. Now he's 25 years old. And so many years you always dedicate.
I'm trying to do it wrong.
Why I'm saying this because so many years you dedicate for Bridgeport Public School and you never give up for our students. And I really appreciate that. And thank you for everything you do for them. You always there and you always find out to be sure our kids, be successful. And I appreciate that for so many years.
Thank you.
And so we're gonna move to item 3. and
Okay,
that's-
I'd like to move to item 3, referral to the full board for approval of the Bridgeport Public Schools debate team lead trip to Washington DC to participate in the Washington DC Urban Debate League Dragon Tournament, November 6th through 9th, 2025.
So move.
Does anyone else want it? Mr. Woodson, would you like to second that?
Second.
Thank you, sir. Under discussion? You all want to elaborate on this trip?
all the paperwork in,
I have
because
the work here.
it's a out-of-state trip, board has to approve it. So he's trying to get everything pushed forward to get reservations and things done. And so we got all that completed. Chaperones are connected and ready to go. Just need final approval for the board.
Yeah.
I have the checklist. Check. I'm not gonna go through it item by item by item by item. So any questions about that? Nope. I have a motion to refer it to the full board.
So move.
So moved by Mr. Benahan Graham.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Oh, right, we did, sorry. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. I thank you very much. And it'll be moved to the full board at its next meeting, and I appreciate all the work that you've done, Ron.
We certainly appreciate all the support you guys have given us. So we really do. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Have a good evening.
You too. Thanks. Take care.
Next item on the agenda is an update from the athletic director. This was mostly because in the spring, when we discussed your position, we talked about expanding middle school. So I asked if this be put on the agenda so that we can have a brief update at the beginning of the school year. And hopefully throughout the school year, we'll keep monitoring it.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much. So this being the start of the school year, and my first start to the school year, I'm currently actually engaging conversations with various groups in the community regarding our middle school offerings, including cross-country, soccer, basketball, flag football, track, baseball, softball. There's various programs at the high school level that require a youth model to support them. And actually, as most recent as today, I had a conversation with some of our high school coaches to talk about what I can do to support them and what they need from me at the youth level to transfer and translate skills to the next level. And so, through those conversations, we're talking about clinics and camps in the fall, in the spring, in the summer, that we're looking to get specifically grades 3 through 8 actually involved in. And with that, basketball being what basketball is in the city, I've had conversations with various groups over the course of the summer, more specifically Caribe, regarding the past and how we utilize Caribe for basketball. So those conversations are actually ongoing, and they've offered some thoughts and insights as ways for them to offset any costs to the board. And so we are, they're looking at options and are going to get back to me shortly regarding what they can potentially offer us at a no cost, essentially saving the district, a lot of money. And so these are very important programs that we need to establish in these schools. Today I came here from Harding High School, where Bridgeport Central is playing Harding girls soccer. And so seeing the number of girls out there was actually refreshing. So Central actually had a push to try and recruit girls because their numbers were low. And so today they have 25 girls on the sideline, which is awesome. So for them to have the ability to offer some sub-varsity options for those girls is huge. Harding had a large number of girls as well. And so these are only going to get better as we establish these middle school programs. And again, I'm going to lean on our coaches at the high school level because they see what's needed from that youth level, specifically skill specific. So what is happening at youth level that can translate to the high school where we're not spending ninth grade teaching the skills and drills where they have some background already to progress us to be more competitive.
I'll start.
Sure.
You mentioned clinics and camps for grades 3 through 8. Then you went into basketball.
Yes.
Do you have any other sports that you're developing in?
Yes, so I just met with another community partner who is very involved with our spring programs, including track and flag football. And again, one of the major obstacles that exists here is space. It just does. And so from a middle school perspective, many of our schools don't have the space to run certain programs outside. So it defers to a weekend type of activity or an evening activity. So these conversations that I'm having with various people, we don't want to just rehash the same old thing over and over again. So it requires some specific things. And actually, so this fall, again, we're having some conversation regarding soccer and cross country. I would like to try to really develop some sort of intramural program or way to highlight some of our middle school soccer athletes in the midst of some of our high school soccer contests. So between games at Kennedy Stadium, we have the varsity contest, middle school contest, varsity contest, just to really highlight what the kids are doing.
Mr. Bennett?
Yes, I have a question for you. Do you have a specific budget for using for the equipment or whatever, any team that they need it? Or you have some people growing from outside help you just?
Referring to middle school or referring to all athletics?
That's what all are.
So yes, we do have a budget that we utilize for our athletic programs. But in conversations with Ms. Hughes, we have talked about grant opportunities that may exist to offset some of those costs.
Yeah, because I know sometimes you guys are short and sometimes, especially the equipment, they're very expensive.
And we have identified the community is amazing in Bridgeport. And there are people who really want to invest in Bridgeport and are willing to donate money to offset certain costs for various programs. And so those conversations are ongoing as well.
Thank you. No question, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Woodson?
Yes. Thank you. Did I hear that Bridgeport high school athletics was brought back to the FCIAC?
Bridgeport Central is in the FCIAC, and I believe they have been for the past several years. Harding and Bassick have been accepted to the SWC conference starting next calendar year. So starting in the fall of 26, Harding and Bassick will be embedded into that schedule. And actually, the SWC has been great and have included the athletic directors in the conversations this year, summer and throughout this year, and have actually started already scheduling some out-of-league contests, which has been great.
Okay, great. I want to thank you and I want to congratulate you on that. You know, Bridgeport has, in the past couple of years, I had some scheduling problems because we weren't part of a conference. So I just want to thank you for that, and you know, I appreciate that.
No,
Um,
thank you.
um, one question I wanted to bring up. I noticed I heard you say something about flag football. You know, I know flag football is becoming real big. It's going to be an Olympic sport. I think in the next Olympics, if it isn't already. So
It is.
I think that's a great idea. You know, to get the kids into stuff that you know that can help them actually move up to the next level. You know, it's probably gonna be a college sport, hopefully pretty soon, and maybe we could get some of these girls extra opportunities if we start them young. So yeah, that's a great idea. Yep, I just want to thank you. You're doing a great job. Good job.
No, thank you. And to follow up, girls flag football has gained traction. We had a clinic this past June, which we had, 100 to 150 girls out at Seaside Park, which was amazing. I'm not sure if you all are aware, but one of our football coaches at Central High School was just recently honored as the coach of the week by the New York Giants, which comes with it some very exciting things. And that conversation that I had with the New York Giants actually has then led to a meeting. I'm finalizing the dates shortly, mid-October, where I will head to New Jersey and meet the Giants about flag football in the future.
Mr. Medina, I'll get you 1 second. In fact, yes, they've been pushing it big time, the NFL, especially for girls and women. So that doesn't surprise me. Mr. Woodson, is that it?
That's it for me. Thank you, Mr. Traber.
Mr. Medina? Mr. Medina?
I'm sorry, just trying to unmute here. So many buttons here. Thank you very much, Mr. Traver. You had mentioned about the programs, and like Mr. Traver said, it you kind of like stopped at basketball, and then you added soccer. So I wanted to know what are the programs that we're, let's say, trying to focus. Maybe step one. If there's any other programs that we're doing, like in a step two or phase two. I mean, what are the programs that we're trying to bring to these kids? Because I don't know if you know a little bit about the history about these three gentlemen before you, the two in front of you, and myself. But we have a bad experience in soccer and other sports, and I just want to wonder what other programs are you thinking for the 3 and 8?
So to be perfectly honest with you, I think it's all encompassing, and we need to focus on all of them in some capacity. But to be perfectly honest with you, there are certain sports in the city that we struggle to compete in more than others. And one of that is two of those, baseball and softball, at the high school level is an area where we struggle. And so I really want to focus on trying to develop a program this spring to bring the middle school kids together to really develop those skills. I already have a plan actually to bring in a former Major League Baseball pitcher to work with our baseball athletes at the high school level this winter, leading up to the spring season, with the coaches and the athletes. And with that, a well-known professional softball pitcher who's made a career out of it to work with our girls. I think that is actually going to be huge for our development of the high school kids. But again, there's a need at the middle school level, a huge need at the middle school level for baseball and softball, so it can translate to the high school.
I 100% agree, and you had me at softball right off the back. I started managing the Central High School softball team back when I was in 8th grade, and my sister was playing at Central. And then all through our high school, I kind of like managed the team with the coach, Mr. Coach Soprano and them, and even after. So that's a very dear, and I coached women's over at Seaside Park also. I had a few teams there a couple years. So very interested in hear more about that, and just to be a champion, if you would, or somebody that would stand in the crowd or anytime, every time that I could. But thank you for that. Now, you were also discussing about partners. And I know it might be early, but I'll just throw it out there. Who are we trying to partner up with right now that we're in talks with?
So when I say partners, I'm referring to, groups such as Caribe, our Bridgeport Field Dreams Foundation, Park Recreation, Bridgeport Youth Lacrosse, all groups that we have utilized and have relied on and worked with. And so, everybody's open to dialogue, and, I just want to make sure that we continue that dialogue and work together, because we all have the common goal of the kids, and want to make sure we provide as much as possible.
Thank you. Does this all encompass also? I know we were speaking last year, and Caribe came over to us. And is this all encompassing also those cheerleading squads that are out there right now in our sports for the
Yes.
middle school kids?
Yes. Yes, it includes the cheerleaders as well. Sorry, I didn't share that.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Mr. Woodson,
One quick question. I know in our last meeting, Mr. Estramera Jimenez had brought up a little incident that happened at Fairfield Ward with Bullet Havens. Are we prepared? I know she said that we had games. Bridgeport Public High Schools had games scheduled with Fairfield Ward. Has everything been investigated, and are we prepared for our games that we have with them?
that was referred to the superintendent's office, and it's not on this agenda or this report. So I would ask that we wait until the full board gets a report back from the superintendent. Because as I said,
I mean, I don't want to report on the incident. I just want to know if the games that we have with them are we prepared?
I understand, and I'm simply saying, as chair of this meeting, that's not on our agenda, and I said at the beginning, I have a tight agenda. So I'm gonna defer that to the superintendent responding to the full board, as he was asked to do Monday night. So,
Future. Mr. Woodson, I will have an update. I met with the superintendent from Fairfield this afternoon and have an update, and I haven't had a chance to talk to the AD yet regarding our protocol when we play that team. So I want to make sure that he has what I have in order to make a decision. So that's coming.
Thank you. That's all I want to know.
yeah, and Mr. Woodson, I'm just saying that that's a longer discussion than we have tonight, and we have a full agenda. So anything else on middle school sports? So here's what I would like to follow up with this. I would like you to, if there's a way to provide us a written report, one, because this came up, of what the full panoply of what we're offering at the high school level. Going back to Mr. Woodson's original question of, I heard you say something about Harding and Central playing girls soccer tonight. I'm probably 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was told Harding didn't have a girls soccer team. So it's news to me, and that's my ignorance, not no failure on your part. I didn't know that. And so it made me realize we need a report on what we're offering now at each school. Because, you made a comment a moment ago, Central was having trouble recruiting. Willie made a comment about what his experience had been. My daughter was co-captain of the Central soccer team. We all have different backgrounds and experiences, and sort of where things are at now is important to understand what we're offering and what you do have out there now going on, and in what leagues, as Mr. Woodson asked. That's all important to know. What are we providing our children now? So that would be useful to us, I believe. And then what you have out there now for the middle school kids And, that, it's the basis for what you're exploring. I think that would be useful for the next time we have a chance to talk. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Great. Any other questions from anybody? Great. I deeply appreciate your coming and starting this discussion because it's, we're going down this road and it's an important road to go down. The idea is, as we discussed last spring, to provide these options to our kids in the middle school level and develop them, as you said, is part of that. In different sports and different offerings that I'm reminded with the earlier discussion with the debate team. I remember when they developed the fencing team at Central.
Yes.
It was new and out of nowhere and they had to get equipment and coaches and everything.
Mhm.
So, I mean, whatever we sort of had and can develop, let's see what we got. And as Mr. Woodson commented, flag football is hugely grown. So it's a very exciting thing and then, shown in the turnout you got this summer.
Yes.
Chair,
Yes.
I want to make sure we can emphasize what Mr. Traver talked about. I think we need to get a whole comprehensive look at athletics, where we are, what we're doing, budgetary things, needs, all those things need to be in a comprehensive report to the board. Because I think, when we talked about eliminating that position, I think the overarching feel for the board and the district is that athletics play a value added opportunity for kids in this district. And we need to make sure that we are aggressive in trying to find additional out of district support to make that come to life. And so whatever that may be, we need to make sure that we're on the ground floor running and grabbing every opportunity of dollar that we can to make this program, because the kids need something to hold on to. And I think this is the way it needs to happen. And I think athletics, cheerleading, all of those extracurricular things, we can't just cut those things from the kids. We have to enhance the things for the kids. And so we have to do our due diligence of the adults that governs this work to make sure that happens. And you're going to be instrumental in making that come together. And so I think that report is going to be important for them. So I think that will be, really refreshing to see where we are and how we need to build from there.
Great. Any other questions, comments? Yes, sir.
I agree with what Avery said because athletic help a lot of students, save a lot of students from the street. And some students, sometimes when they go home, they don't have nothing to do, and especially when they a dinner, something like that. I know sometimes some coach help. I know so many coaches, they from the pocket, they buy food and they help a lot of students. And that's very important. I'll always support like they saw 100%. And I know we can have more. I know sometimes because the budget, but I always say this: when it's about kids, I don't care how much they cost, because we have to be sure our kids, be sure they're healthy, they're not athletic, be champion, they represent their sport, stuff like that. And that's what we're trying to do, So please, if you think something's wrong and you need help, just let them know that do not think like we're not going to help you, we're not going to support you, because athletic for us, for Bishop Public School is very important. Thank you.
When do you?
We meet on the fourth Wednesday of the month. And barring a special meeting being set up, which I, at this point, don't anticipate, it would be the fourth Wednesday of next month.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is the staffing update. That's you.
Thank you. We put together, and I just want to begin this conversation saying, as of right now, we are working very diligently in trying to create an internal system where we can have this at a dashboard with a moment's notice. Between Power School and Red Rover, we are working on something, but since it's not in place yet, what we did was we took, as part of our back to school checklist, we asked every principal to submit the beginning of September their organization chart, which includes their certified staff by name, by grade, and their paraprofessionals and any other adults in the building. And from that, we captured and summarized this based on our discussion for classroom teachers, which would include specialists, sped teachers, and paras. The items that are omitted from this list that I did not include are the school level psychologists and the counselors, because they are shared between many of the schools. And when you look at total 13, we got about 1,370 certified teachers that came back in our organization chart. So when you add back our school social workers, counselors, and psychologists, that gets us up almost closer to 1,500 in the district. Second column, it's entitled long-term subs or vacancies. These are the teacher vacancies in the district. We currently are at 40, plus another 2 speech and language and 4 school psychologists. If you're gonna look at that, the total number, each of them.
That last part.
It's 4, we are 40
Yeah.
positions for teacher positions that are open. We have another 2 speech and language and 4 school psychologists. Okay. Each week, the HR team sends to Dr. Avery and the team a list of current vacancies broken out by content area. And we're going to start sending you under a separate cover letter, start sending that to the board, so you'll have those on a recurring basis. The paraprofessionals, these are primarily our SPED paraprofessionals, and we are in process of beginning an audit, if you will, working in conjunction with our special ed department of confirming the paras, one-on-ones, the teacher classrooms, and getting a handle on that, which is an area that we need to jump into.
And then again,
The paraprofessional column
primarily sped.
is primarily SPED, but what we need to do is reconcile how much of this is actually the one-to-one paras versus classroom resource, or self-contained classroom paras. Current model has 2, correct me if I'm wrong, Michelle, 2 paras for 1 teacher in a self-contained classroom.
These are Board of Ed paras, not substitute pairs, like Delta and Kelly. So like when you look at the kindergarten pairs, those kindergarten pairs are Delta or Kelly sub pairs. These pairs that's on this list are Board of Ed employee pairs, different.
Do we have any long-term sub-pairs?
Long-term sub pairs?
When you say long-term in what sense of?
In the sense that last year we used them for kindergarten.
So those are, that's a separate group.
No, that's a separate group. What you were talking is long-term sub used for kindergarten. No, what we have today are strictly one-to-one pairs through the agency. One-to-one pairs with the agency. Those headcounts are not included here.
One second. Okay, last year we used through an agency, paras for kindergarten.
Yes.
That's correct.
We were just told this 288 number. We haven't reconciled which of these 288 are classroom paras
For self-contained, especially.
for self-contained and which are one-on-one. You just said we're using one-on-one. We're using sub-agencies for one-on-one.
We're using one-to-one paras are we're using agencies.
So I find those 2 comments confusing.
Well, they could be a combination because this came from the principals. So if the principals consider the agency para as part of their roster, they may have included it on their organization
Or
chart.
they may be including non-Board of Ed paras.
That's
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the detail.
And that's what we have to reconcile.
Included here.
And remember, One of the things I've been stressing is that we do not have an audit-based system in this district to provide some of the data points that the board is requesting. And so what they had to do for this report, they had to hand tally every single one to get you the report you need. So sometimes when a request is made, sometimes it takes a little bit longer to do, but they did that with the additional data that was received by teachers at the beginning, principals at the beginning of the year to work through. But when you talk about kindergarten paras, they're all done.
I would just use them because I knew
Yeah.
they were
And
examples
sometimes it gets,
know,
it gets muddy.
of non-bargaining unit parents.
Yes.
So that's the only reason I use
Perfect.
them, not for any other purpose. They were the easiest example I could come up with
Okay.
off the top of my head.
Yes.
You obviously I poked the hornet's nest because they prompted some other reactions. And by getting that conflict of statements, I got some more information.
It depends on the
The more
depth.
you poke the hornet's nest, the more.
It depends on the
So
definition.
it's fine. I learned something new. And that's all I'm here for is to, fuel my ignorance. That's why we have these elected citizen members on the Board of Ed to, educate ourselves. Okay, so I understand that. So that number is not, and we need to.
We're gonna work that.
Clean
We're
that
on
up.
that. Yes, we're on
Okay. That does not apply to the certified people.
that. Well, the certified vacancies, those,
Well, first, let's start with the certified teaching.
yes.
The certified teaching are all Board of Ed, certified bargaining unit teachers.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and the others that you added to that list that rounded out over 100 other positions. You said that with.
40.
No.
Oh, round up, yes, the other.
Rounded up to certified positions. When I add the
Okay.
social workers, counselors, psychologists, and other personnel who don't work just at one school, you said it brings us up to almost 1,500 positions. Those positions are all certified bargaining unit
Yes,
people.
Yes.
Okay. And then we have 40 vacancies, which would also be certified bargaining unit
Yeah.
positions.
however, they're currently filled by long-term subs.
Right. I get that. So that one I'm just putting over there because that one's fairly solid information.
Mhm.
So it's in the area of paras that we're shifting.
Yes,
We're not solid.
yes.
Okay. I am fine. Let me note for the record that Mr. Sakalovic has joined us at the meeting. Although he seems to have disappeared again. Sam, did he disappear on me?
Yeah.
He did. He appeared for a moment. He's in the ether again. If he rejoins, I will still note that he rejoined, but in the time I took to note it, he disappeared again. But Sam and I will keep an eye out for him. Okay, I think I have my question answered for now. Mr. Benahan Grahanas, you have a question?
No question. Everything was clear.
Mr. Woodson, do you have a question on this?
No, I'm all set. Thank you.
Any other members of the board care to question? Mr. Medina, you're on hold. Does that mean you're listening or you're just not even here either?
This one.
I stepped away.
Okay. I am comfortable with the information as it is now and waiting for you to help us with the shifting information on the paras. I recognize what Dr. Avery said about us trying to firm up our access to data. That's what we're trying to do. It's sort of like what we're talking about with the athletic, information. We are at the beginning of the year, we're trying to firm up the data so that we can all be looking at the same information throughout the year. And if that's the stage we're at here in September,
Yes, sir.
at the beginning of the year. And that's what we want to be using as the basis for analysis that we do throughout the year on student progress and monitoring and things like that. I will probably be asking for other information that will prove to be a challenge to get initially, but once we sort of get it down, we'll, use it as a foundation for what we do throughout the year,
Absolutely. And
which is what we're doing here.
And just to emphasize again that, moving forward every Friday, you will get the vacancy list broken down throughout the district so that you can kind of help stay monitored. It's a report that I submit to the commissioner every week. So starting this week, you guys will get it under separate cover, and it'll be every Friday. You'll see in comparison where we're doing with the hiring, the vacancies, and the fill rate throughout, moving forward. So I think it's a good added addition to the staffing piece that would be beneficial for the board as well.
You can see it, Mr. Scalabry showed up for Mr. Medina. Last call on questions, gentlemen. And I'm going to move on because we're doing fine on time.
We're doing good.
Look at that. Feeling less worried. And my text monitor here. Oh, he's back. Mr. Medina, I see you're back. Did you have any questions on this data?
No, thank you, sir. The only question I had, not on the data per se, I'm just wondering why wasn't this provided in the packet in the portal? I was just trying to find things as I was going along, and I just had a business call, so I apologize. That's the only question I have. I mean, it wasn't in the packet. I'm just wondering why wasn't this provided, prior to the meeting, that way we can, have a better dialogue. But I don't want to hold up the meeting whatsoever. Thank you.
Through the chair, I can answer that. Mr. Medina, that report had to be manually done because we don't have access to a database that will calculate the exact data that the board is needing for that particular item. My staff just finished, the calculation of that. And so they finished up prior to this meeting, and that's why it was going to be an update discussion. And that's what we brought to the table today to make that discussion. You will have a vacancy list submitted to the board every Friday with that information on it.
I know. I don't know. Does that mean he can hear? Yeah, no, I get it. And no, you heard it. Okay, then I'm moving to the next item on the agenda. Update and possible referral for approval to the full board on kindergarten paraprofessionals.
Thank you, Mr.
This
Chair.
would be the money item tonight.
This is the money item. One of the things I think is very important I'm gonna put some context to this particular item. As part of the cost saving measure that the district, that we performed prior to the end of the school year and brought to the full board for consideration and approval was the elimination of kindergarten paras. And we did that, with the intent of really understanding exactly what was needed in order to cut budget. And so we looked at all different aspects of opportunities across, our current budget to look at, cutting, and we ended up bringing to the board the 1.2.8 or $1.3 million cost savings to remove kindergarten paras. We did that. We rolled out this particular new school year with no kindergarten paras at hand and support for the kindergarten teachers. As you may know, on the last board meeting or two, we had kindergarten paras come forth to the board concerned about the conditions of their classrooms and the lack thereof support for the classrooms. And really at this point in the game, we've heard that voice of the teachers and the concerns that they had. Wanted to let the board know that my staff and I, we had boots on the ground Monday and Tuesday of this week, this week or last week, to get out into those kindergarten classrooms, to experience what teachers were concerned about as well. And I can tell you, in my 30+ years in the business, you know, in being able to experience what I experienced and what my staff experienced, I feel we had to do something different. We had to go back and look at our current budget and figure out what we could do to support the teachers in the kindergarten classrooms. Overall, I can say to you that, you know, from just last year to this year, there has been a change in the students that we're serving in our kindergarten classrooms. The kiddos that are coming into our system are challenged with a lot of different challenges that we were not really, you know, really ready for, or even really acknowledge that they were that extreme. Again, being able to experience it myself and having, you know, 4 or 5 of my cabinet there with me to experience in several different campuses, I was just amazed. And again, so what we've done over the last, you know, a week or so is to figure out and look back at our current budget to figure out what we can do in order to bring this back. So I'm here to tell you this evening that I think we found the $1.3 million within our current budget, you know, in order to bring back all of the kindergarten pairs that we had in place this past school year, in order to make sure that we can equip our, you know, teachers with the ability to manage the differences in students groups from last year to this year. One of the things that I will emphasize is that it's all about the sustainability of us being able to keep these positions. And so what I'm looking at now is, one, I've already made a request to the commissioner to utilize some of those dollars that she had, the $5 million that she has, in order to support this piece. I hadn't got a response back yet as to if we're going to be able to utilize those dollars for this cause. So, but what I did anyway is I went through our current budget again and found the money to be able to do it. Hopefully, as soon as the board passes this, we can move forward and bring in the next. So hopefully, if we can get a special call board meeting for this particular item, I think we will be able to bring back kindergarten bears sooner than later. Sooner the better, in order to get a little relief in the classroom. And I can emphasize, I've had 20-year-plus veteran teachers saying that we're going to have to do something because it's different. Different than what they've experienced. I know different than what I and my staff would experience. So we really would like for the board to consider, you know, where we are and moving forward with this particular item to bring it to the full board for consideration and approval. And I'll take any question, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, I want to make a comment and a question. I believe completely in the sincerity of what you just laid out. And I know because I sat here for 3 hours last week during the policy and personnel meeting and engaged in a discussion with you all about the seriousness of the situation in our kindergartens. We heard the testimony from the union at the previous board meeting. I've heard, given my contacts with teachers in this community, numerous teachers speaking to me about the situation and how serious it was. It was clear to me in my conversation with yourself and Ms. Hughes and Ms. Sangita that you all were aware and growing more aware. And I was pleased to hear that you all were going out and seeing how bad it was. You were responding to those pleas from the teachers and going to see for yourself how bad it was. I also heard from you as to how this perfect storm of situation, of conditions, occurred this year to create this untenable situation in the kindergarten classrooms. And I'm pleased that you have found funds to remedy the problem. The number one question that comes to my mind is, where did you find the funds? Because we had to go. And everyone's going to want to know that, because everyone's going to want to know, why did we do this in the summer so that we never had to deal with this? So I think that's the question that you have to answer to all of us. So that we didn't have to go through this 3 or 4 weeks of the school year and lose teachers over the summer who probably weren't even going to bother to try. And what I know you ran into, what I'm hearing from teachers, is there are teachers who are just about to step out the door and never come back. So it's important that we get out there and do what you said. I agree with you. I support you completely on that. But I also want to be able to say, why did we have to go through this?
Well, remember,
And I'm sorry, I know we're about to start, but I do completely agree with you about why the heck haven't we gotten the answer on the $5 million that we're all waiting to hear from since the summer, when the board voted that this was our priority and your priority, where we could have fixed the problem over the summer if they had just given us a straight answer on this way back then. So
I think one of the biggest areas of being able to find money was we budgeted for substitute teachers and substitute paras in our budget. And that's a huge amount of money that we budget to get us through the full year. Those budget items are projected budget items. So it's one of those things where, you have to guesstimate based on previous years. When you forecast budgets, you have to figure out what you use from previous years, and that's how and then you kind of uptake those projections every year. What we had to do is really look at what we're paying, for our Delta paras and our Kelly paras and substitutes that we're using, and we had to scale that back a little bit because this is more important. And one of the things I put forth to this board earlier is that we're really looking at chronic absenteeism, because we pay so much money when teachers are not here, so we have to be able to kind of stay focused on monitoring why are teachers out? What are we doing? What are we supporting? Are they getting support at the campus level? So we feel and that's one of the big focus that we put out for the school year, is how we're going to reduce chronic absenteeism, not only with students, but with staff, right? So we figure we will be able to have some cost savings there and still utilize these dollars. Now, if we go over and we don't make an impact on how we affect chronic absenteeism for staff, then we're going to be over budget. And so I would rather see us be over budget in May or June than not be able to make this impact work. So that's really the conversations that we've had, and because you gotta rob Peter to pay Paul on a lot of things that we do in this district. But remember, budgets are done at the end of the school year for the following school year. So you have a little bit of room, not a lot, but you still have to have a way to be able to, if I'm going to save any money, where am I going to save it, right? Because usually, if you don't spend the money, it just pulls over back to the general fund, and then it's almost like a savings, right? I don't want to do that. I would rather be right at the end and right on budget than not have this taken care of. So that is my rationale on why we did what we did.
Additionally, we approached the grant budgeting in a totally new methodology. We're going in, we started with the Alliance and with Nestor and his team and the grants department and myself and Dr. Avery. we're going in and we did a backwards design. We said, okay, what can go into this grant? And through that, we went through every single line item of the prior year grant. And we did notice there may have been some duplicates that were in last year's grants that they inadvertently carried over. They were going to include in this year. So no, we're not doing that back. So we structured it so that the funds that are put into each of the grant, the Alliance, the priority, Title 1, 2, 3, 4, truly align, not that the others didn't, but we kind of started just scratch going through every single item. And there was some savings to be had with that as well.
And moving forward, one of the things I'm going to be bringing back to the board is the organizational chart. Remember when this year's organization said, I moved grants out of the finance department and I moved it to the academic department. I'm getting ready to propose another change to the organizational chart where grants is going to come under me. I have to be the steward of what and how funding is being spent. And those are those large, alliance and priority grants that really governs the functioning of this district. And so I need to be a little bit more in tune with what's good. So the grants department is coming back under me instead of the academic department. So it's just, based on this exercise, I felt I needed to be able to do that. So I'm going to bring that organization, and you'll see that change where it's coming from academics back to me. And I think that's really where it needs to be. And then I'll be working with Ms. Nicole and Mrs. Hughes, because from the finance side to the academic side, there still need to be some direction. And I want to be able to do that a little bit better. And so because even when I start forecasting to the end of this school year, we're still going to have a problem, because we need an influx of funding for the children of this district. And that's what I'm getting ready to advocate for, and I want to be in tune to every penny that we have and what we're doing with it. So it was a good exercise for us as well. And again, it provided fruit to be able to do what we're doing here. And a great question. I think that is what was, I was going to get to that point, but you asked it before I got to it, which was right on point, and I appreciate the ask.
Mr. Bennett?
We can have the parents, huh?
See, the point that we're looking to have a special call board meeting in the next couple of days, probably early next week. And it's going to be a one item, a special meeting agenda. We just need the board to have enough of you guys there to get that approved, and then we will kick it in action. And we already let Delta and Kelly know they're ready to go, but I couldn't approve that amount of money. So I'm wanting the board to be able to take it to a special meeting, get it on the agenda, approve it, and then soon after that, we will start implementing.
I'm very glad you bring this, because I want the parents, they can understand everything you and your team, they're trying to pass, professional. They think like we're not doing nothing. They think like we don't need them and stuff like that. So they can understand it. It's not easy. It's a process. It's a policy. It's like you said, baby step to get it there. But I'm very glad, you said something, because they really need it. Our teachers and staff need some, this kind of help. So I hope, all colleagues and all the board members understand and approve it. So thank you. I appreciate that information.
Mr. Woodson?
Yes. I'm just kind of really disappointed that it had to come to this point where, we got rid of the parents in the kindergarten classrooms. We'd look to you guys, the administration to give us information on what's a good idea, what's a bad idea. And, I never, not that I know I'm just a regular person, I had kids that were in school, and I remember having parents in their classrooms. So, just for just thinking that we could remove the parents from a kindergarten classroom and think that it would be okay is just, it's terrible. I wish it never came to that. I wish we hopefully in the future, like you said, we're able to sustain these pairs. Next year hopefully we won't be going through the same problem. And, we just need to start being able to forecast these type of problems. And somebody should have known that this wasn't going to be a good idea. Thank you.
If I may, and then you may. One of the things that, Mr. Woodson, you'll recall, because you and I have been here longer, than Dr. Avery, and some of the other administrators haven't been here as long. We eliminated all paras 10 to 15 years ago. We eliminated them all. I remember kindergarten paras coming to me, I was still a teacher, saying, what do you think? Should I stay as a kindergarten para or should I transfer to special ed para for job security? And my advice to them was switch, because we're eliminating the district, not me, I was a teacher. But my advice to you is job security, go with special ed para, because the district doesn't have any money. And it's a disheartening situation. It's a horrible situation. And it's one that we continue to need to address because our district is underfunded. And you and I, it's one of the things that you and I agree on. The state needs to give us the money, not the 5 million that's sitting out there since last June, but a lot more money that's sitting in their surplus and elsewhere. But that notwithstanding, we are going to still have to deal with this situation down the road. But what I am glad to hear is that the administration, and what I did learn last week, and I've heard the horror stories this year from teachers, and it was horrible when we did it 10 to 15 years ago, but it is worse this year than any other year I've heard of, because of it just was a confluence of factors that came together to create this absolutely. When I went to the open house at my granddaughter's school and talked to the kindergarten teachers there, at other schools, just the different things that just contributed to making this absolutely unbearable. And what I saw was these administrators hearing the same things and not saying, it's okay. It's okay. They went out and saw it for themselves and said, oh no, this is just unacceptable. And we just got to figure out where to get some money to help. And what I'm really glad to hear is what I first heard was, okay, we'll do a little something. And what I'm hearing tonight is we're going to do everything. We're going to do all the way something. And it is music to my ears. It's still not all the way back to where we were 10 or 15 years ago when we had one parent in every kindergarten class. But it is where we were 4 or 5 years ago when we got the Art Besser money and we put back one kindergarten para for every other class. And that's a huge step forward. Just a few days ago, they were talking about maybe one kindergarten para for every 4 or 5 classes. So they're taking a huge step forward, and I'm really happy to hear it because it is going to make life a lot better in all those classes, and the teachers will be relieved, the staff will be relieved, and it's really to their credit that they figured out a way to do this, and I applaud them for it, and I'm really glad to hear it. It is, as you said, Mr. Woodson, just a horrible situation for us to find ourselves in to begin with. And we as a board and a community, need to figure out a way to try and make sure this doesn't happen again.
Absolutely. And through the chair.
Yes.
And to your question, Mr. Woodson, one of the things that I think we're the largest school district in Connecticut. And when you look at systematically how we do business, from the financial side to the hiring side, we don't have an automated system that should be able to help my team forecast. In forecasting, as you look forward to developing budgets, finalizing budgets, looking at staffing, all those things that we should be doing and having access to by punching a button, we don't have that in this district. We do everything by paper and pencil, old school. And it's not the most accurate way of being able to do it. So what we've done, we've utilized those services that we had or don't have. And a lot of it is, the forecasting is more of, do we have the money to do this? Did we get a requisition or a proposal for buying and purchasing certain things? Most districts have all that internal things that you can do by, is what they call an internal software system that helps to make those predictions. And so we're doing the best we can and providing those predictions of what we can and we can do away with or reduce or eliminate altogether. And so when we did those forecasting for the budget reductions, I think we did our best job on that. I was new to the superintendent role as well. I was trying to figure out and use my skill set based on what I already knew and how to do it. And so, and in reality, $32 million, I think we did a pretty good job. And were we on spot on every single thing? Absolutely not. In the future planning, we're looking at clearing up and finalizing our systems to be able to do better jobs of this. This should be easy projection. Those things that we're providing you guys, I mean, if we had the system to do it, it would be easy to do. But we just don't have that capability to be able to do it the way it really needs to be done. Again, the largest school district in Connecticut, and we're probably the least resource district in Connecticut. And to me, as a leader, that's a shame. And there's no hardship from anybody in this district. It's just when you look at funding in this district, not only for services for children, but services for the adults in this district to do their jobs, we're at a loss. And it's very, very unfortunate, but I'm not the one that's going to sit back and, hey, I don't have it to do it. We're doing it. And we intend to do it and keep doing it until we get it right. So, and your job as board members is to ask questions, push us, support us, praise us, and get on us when we don't do it the right way. So that's okay. That's what it's all about. We're okay with that. But it's been very, very challenging, very, very challenging. And it would be challenging for anybody sitting in this seat and sitting in their seats to do this work. And so I want everybody to give us a little grace. We're in it to win it, and we're trying our hardest. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Let me tell you, Dr. Avery, I'm sorry. I don't expect anybody to be perfect. I'm not perfect. I just expect that our response to the situation is what measures us and tells us what type of people we are and how good we are at our job. So I don't base anything on how the problems. Is how we deal with the problems is how I base everything on. So don't the whole union staff don't take any and just don't take anything that I said that bad. I just, like I said, I base everything on the response, not the problem. So I want to thank you guys. You do a wonderful job, and you try, and that's the most important thing. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that. I appreciate that very much. And again, I take that as a productive criticism to make sure that we do it right, and that's just part of what we do. And so again, I think that's part of your job to be able to put that forth. And so I respect that and thank you for that as well.
Any other questions? Okay, I want to make sure I have this right now. We are going to approve the complete restoration of the funding that was cut for kindergarten parents.
That's correct.
And refer it to the full board for approval.
That's correct.
So I have a motion. I am asking for a motion to restore the full funding that was cut for kindergarten paras of 1.327 million. Moved by Mr. Benahem Grajales. Would you like to second that, Mr. Woodson? Thank you. I have that motion made and seconded made by Mr. Benahem Grajales and seconded by Mr. Woodson. All in favor, say aye.
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 It is passed unanimously and referred to the full board.
And through the chair, and what I'll do is I'll get with the board chair and see when she can collectively get enough board members together for a special meeting.
And as a matter of, I guess, personal, I would ask that we do it as a Zoom meeting as quickly as possible for the sake of the kindergarten classrooms in our city.
Yes, perfect. Do that.
Thank you, sir. And the next item on the agenda is an update on special education. What's your items? You don't have to stay for the meeting, sir.
I know, but I don't want to move. I don't want to move.
Just to be clear, when you do your report, you're free to go. Worked enough for the day.
Good evening. Thank you. And I apologize ahead of time for this not being in the portal, but I have shared the information with the two members that are present. Currently in special education, some of this will be kind of a repeat of what Ms. Hughes shared. In special education vacancies, we have 3 teachers. They're in the resource classrooms, 4 psychologists, 1 sign language interpreter facilitator, but that position, we're currently using contracted services, but we're continuing to keep it posted so that hopefully we would get a BOE employee. And 1 certified occupational therapy assistant, which is also being contracted. We have 3 special education complaints, state complaints, and each one of those have corrective actions. We have 1 pending systemic complaint that we are gathering the information to send back in, but no current corrective actions. Corrective action plans, we have 2, 1 for, it puts us in a state where we have the high risk with our grant, which we've discussed, and that addresses the timely response to compensatory services, the chronic absenteeism, and discipline. And then we also have corrective action plan that we had to send in specifically for our discipline data. Mediation requests, 0. Due process hearing requests, 0. Special education chronic absenteeism for as a whole is 33.7%. And just some upcoming dates, September 30th, our Special Education Advisory Committee is meeting from 5:30 to 6:45 at Aquaculture. And we are currently moving into the phase where we actually have parents that are leading these meetings now. And then on October 29th, we have Trunk or Treat from 4 to 5:30 at SCAPE. Yes, sir.
Go back to the special ed corrective actions.
Yes,
You listed the 3 areas.
yes.
Too fast for me.
Okay, I'm sorry. So, on the corrective action plans, there's 1 for the state where it is compensatory, timely response to compensatory services. And that's from a systemic complaint from 2021-22. Chronic absenteeism. And discipline, which is ISS, OSS, and expulsion, in ensuring that students receive their services when they receive the OSS and the expulsion.
And
And
you
then
said
there's
the
a
first one,
separate-
compensatory services was 21-22, the chronic absenteeism and the discipline services.
So that is for 23-24 data,
Both of them.
both of them, yes. And then the same thing, there is a separate corrective action plan that we had to submit for discipline, and that was for 23-24 data.
So that's a fourth one.
No, so those three are combined into one, which led to our level one needs of intervention, which that's where we have to look at how can we address those three areas using IDEA funds. And that's when we came to you to request the 2 positions. Then separate plan, where we do a self-assessment, and I guess I wouldn't call it a corrective action. We haven't received it yet, but we do a self-assessment for discipline data. And there are probably about 15 questions. And out of those 15 questions, there was one area, and that where we self-identify that our students do not receive their services when they are suspended for 10 days.
Just 10 days.
Well, they do
Total.
over 10 days.
Pardon me.
If it's a total of
So
10
it's,
days.
there's a pattern of suspending students for 10 days. So if I'm suspended today for 10 days, when I come back or while I'm out, there's no plan for me to get my services. So a month later, if I'm suspended again for another 10 days, we're kind of running into that same pattern.
It's cumulative. It's cumulative.
Yes.
Yes. But we
So
also
they-
know,
they
we
look
also
at it.
know, we also know anecdotally, at least, that that's happening with lesser suspensions.
True. So when, if
Okay.
the way they look at it is the first 10 days, and you can look at it both ways, like the first 10 days, under federal law, you're not required to provide the services, but in the state of Connecticut, their state standards, you are. So even 1 to 3 days, students should be receiving their services.
Right. Okay,
And when they're
that's what I'm
suspended,
referring to.
absolutely.
Is that we had discussions and we were concerned about the 1 to 3, the 3 to 5, the 5 to 10. And now you're highlighting a 10, but we're also have already in previous discussions highlighted the importance of 3 to 5 and 5 to 10, all of them. So we know anecdotally, at least, this is a problem that we are trying to get a grasp on, get a handle on.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things, it's all about professional development and
Yes.
understanding that you don't have to automatically suspend the kid for 10 days. You can go 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, or you can come back and and it's just,
All
I'm-
alternative options.
This is a deja vu I'm having.
Yes.
This is not,
no,
we are.
Yep.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
so. I don't think we're at a point where we need to like initiate a discussion about what else can we do. Because it's too early in the school year to consider other corrective actions. Because we just begun, at the end of August to start training people on.
Yes.
This is what you need to do. And now we're seeing, okay, there's some cracks in the training that we need to patch up and, get to these people and say, hey, because you can't lay all this new training on people and expect it all to take hold. So you got to go back and say, hey, I think you forgot about that thing we said in August. We're still in that phase, but we do got.
Is good.
We gotta go back and say, hey, I think you missed that one. But that is what we need to do.
Yeah.
Based on what we're beginning to hear, and that is where we're at. Here in the third week in September, right? The fourth week in September. So, but that is what we need to do, and, you know, when we start hearing that people are saying, thinking that 10 days is automatic, that's another one. This 10 days should never be automatic. Any teacher that thinks 10 days is automatic just needs to have a sit down right away.
But it's not teachers that provides that.
Administrative.
Administrators.
Well, there are some teachers, but certainly if it's an administrator, that's even more automatic. We need to sit down and have a talk. Because that's just. And given our discussion about the new code of conduct book the other night, that's gotta be the basis for having those discussions.
Yeah.
Because those are,
Challenging.
challenging, right? Those are challenging behaviors on the other side of the coin. Correct?
Yeah.
That's correct.
Goes back. Mr. Skalovic. Let the record note that Mr. Skalovic's back. Just 1 second, please. So I having said what I said Monday night about challenging behaviors and my concern about that new process, the challenging behavior coin has two sides. It has the side of the staff and it has the side of the students. And when we implement a difficult program like that, it's training both the students and the staff on how best to implement them. And in this committee, we spent some time last spring discussing staff training to make sure they understood the process in the hopes that it would help with the students and the parents understanding how it should work. And from the parents' point of view, and Mr. Resto has always been a firm advocate from the parents and the students' point of view in making sure they were properly dealt with so that they understood why a student was disciplined, how it was followed, making sure the staff understood how to deal with the parents and the students. We want to make sure that happens properly all across the board. And then we've got new rules that we're going to be training, and it does provide us with an opportunity to revisit that training and reinforce these principles that we're raising here, that 10 days is not automatic and that everybody needs to know why something is happening and that your timely reinforcement of what's going on and provision of services occurs. Okay.
And thank you for that support.
Well, it all has to be done right or else we all get in trouble. And it doesn't help the students and the parents. So, Mr. Bennett, you wanted to speak?
Yes,
for hours?
I just want to know, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to know why the reason when the students suspended, if they don't, 10 days, like you said, they don't give you the work, whatever the community papers. If the staff, they know that, we all know that, it's obviously why they failed that part. Why the parents had to give a call to the Dr. Every office, Mr. Resto, for myself, and then why? And this is not the first time. It's not the first time. You see what happened Monday. We have parents, they say have this and that, have that. We try to avoid soup. Mr. Resto know that. We trying to talk with this parent to avoid a soup. And we're not talking $10,000. We're not talking about $30,000. We're talking over $100,000. They can be a soup. Just depending on the situation. And it's the law. Why the staff failed that part when they have to follow the protocol of the policy. I know you got to let them know by email, workshop, training, why they keep doing that. So I feel that whoever teachers don't follow the protocol, need to get a consequence so they can understand. It's like my son, they don't do the job, you have a consequence. You're gonna be, punished. Sorry, but it's not the first time. It's not the first time that me and Mr. Resto, we avoid. You know, an idea. In 1 month, we avoid 6 soup. And I can tell you who's the person older parent, and me, Mr. Russell, trying to help the parent. But, you know, and you would part, you always help us in that very tool in his office to try to avoid that. So what's going on with the staff is not follow the protocol and the policy the way it's supposed to be when they really know. So they need to have a consequence when they don't follow, because I know they know that's why they take a training. That's why you talk to them. That's why you have meeting with them. So I'm like, hello. So one day, me and Mr. Russell, we're gonna step back. And we don't want that. It's gonna hurt. But if you don't, if they don't see something bad happen, we get a big suit, and then people are gonna open their eyes. And we don't want that. And we try. And you know that you always there to help us. And I appreciate you always there for help our parents. You always have meeting with them. You call it, and I really appreciate it. But why we have to go through this? You have to call the situation when the staff is supposed to be responsible to help their parents and be sure they follow the protocol and policy.
And I think some of it too is the understanding how. And that's a piece that we can work on that. So, you know, what are the options? And helping teachers and administrators to understand that, you know, it could be during that time period that a student participates virtually while they're out. When they come back, that we look at how can we provide the assignments that they missed, or while they're out, that we give them assignments so that they can work on it. It's just ensuring that they're getting that access in their services, and that we're just not suspending to home and we got 10 days that we don't have to deal with them, or, you know, 10 days that I can do this. Well, that student is not there, but that student still has to have their services, whether it's, I keep saying 10, but that sometimes it's a magic number, or that, you know, on Monday an incident happens and they're suspended for the rest of the week, but that student is losing out.
Through the chair, I think the other part of that is that, you know, building leaders need to understand it's not our job to take care of kids in their building. That's their jobs. That's what the district pays them to be able to do. So I think the ownership has to go back, you know, to the campus administrator with the training and the support from us to, like Michelle said, what are the options? What are the alternatives? What could you do? And we have to sometimes set those things up for them in order for them to pull from. And again, I think it's a lot of that they may not know, you know, but as a campus leader, you should know. That's your job, right? You should know every kid that is going to be suspended, be by the assistant principal or the principal. If it's assistant principal suspending kids, the principal should know, and the principal should know if the kid is a special ed kid or not that needs the service, and then he needs to make sure his protocols and systems will counselor, social worker, you know, individual classroom teacher can provide those services or link them to an outside agency that has services, whatever you may do. But I think it's time to take a look at that. So as principal, I get, you know, a kid. So I got a variety of 1 day to 10 days to suspend a kid. So maybe I'll take 3 days. So my obligation to that kid, that's a special ed kid, I got to make sure that teacher is providing work for that kid for 3 days. I want to make sure someone is connecting with the family to know, hey, you've been suspended for 3 days. Here's your assignment for 3 days. That's the kind of work that has to get done. But when that's not happening, kids miss out. And that's what that corrective action is for. District, what are you doing to make sure your folks know when kids are suspended, what's going to happen? But prior to the acknowledgement from the state saying, you got a problem, you need to fix it, and we're going to give you a short period of time to fix it. If you don't fix it, we're gonna sanction you. And that is part of the next step sanction if we don't fix it. So, but it also talks about the money that they're going to be pulling if we get sanctioned. So this is serious. You know, and we gotta be able to equip and make sure everybody understands that we gotta get better at it. And that's what this corrective action's for. That's what, you know, we got kids crying absent because a lot of them have been suspended and a lot of them may be sick. So you add suspension and sick days and they're out a whole lot from there as well. So
Yeah, and just to be clear, to me, it was always a bigger pain in the neck to suspend. To me, that was a bigger pain in the neck. To work, if I got a special ed kid, I work with a special ed teacher and figure out it. Half the time she would say, hey, look, let me just take them. And I'll work with them a little more. And they'll calm down, they'll work, you know, if there being a discipline problem in my class, the special ed teacher could help me work that out with the kid. And we'd work on a program that child would calm down, be less of a problem, give them a little more attention, a little more work. And that was 9 times out of 10, a much better solution than discipline and suspension. That was just way out there in terms of a way to deal with the problem. And usually it was a matter of us figuring out alternative methods of dealing with the problem than just out. That's just, it's such a bad way to deal with it.
And Mr. Trevor, let me emphasize that those corrective action plans are from back in 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. So they were way before a lot of us was even there. I think it's gotten better. I do want to give kudos to the administration. I think they understand what needs to happen. And we're going to be equipping them more with the tools to use to address it. But it's going to be an ongoing challenge that we got to make sure we emphasize.
To think that you would suspend somebody without ever talking to the parents. It's like, why on earth would you do that?
That's one of the part I wanted.
It's like,
Yeah.
you know, you have to talk to the parent because it's just, you talk to the parent because the parent's part of it. So all of this is, so we just have to make sure people are on board. Now, having said all of this, I'm gonna take a little corrective action here. I really enjoyed the discussions on these agenda items tonight, but we have to have these materials before meetings.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna take a little corrective action here. Committee meetings need materials in the portals before the meetings. Mr. Benhaber-Hallis is taking pictures and sending them to the meeting members that are online so they can look at them. And it really sort of crimps our style. They're buzzing us on their texts about, I mean, it makes our life easier. I know what you said. I heard you, Dr. Avery, about putting it together manually. Ms. Hughes explained it to me when she handed them out. I believe it, I hear it, I'm not, but I'm just saying this is 2 things now, 3, to do it, you know.
Yeah.
So in the future, I know we got jammed up with, Ms. Gosher having her medical surgery. So I'm just gonna ask because this has been a good discussion. And I'm just gonna throw that 2 bits in at the end, that we want to just make sure that we try and get all our materials online. So people who are online, Mr. Woodson, Mr. Medina, Mr. Sakalovic when he was here, or Ms. Estromera Jimenez when she was here, can all see it, as opposed to us having to send it to them as we get it handed out. It just makes our life easier. So even if you're like Pope giving it to us, I know usually there's somebody here, not normally it's Danielle, who can like put it up there right away for them to see it at least. It just makes our life easier. So, yes, sir.
Going back, what I was saying, and you said something very, true. They suspend the student, but don't let them know the mom what happened, what's going on, and either they don't give a document, paper. Why the reason they don't get, what's suspended. And you say going back to trying to figure out that problem, Dr. Avery, and let them know that staff, we're gonna give a chance. I would not give it a chance. Because if I told my son, don't do that, and he really know, and he keep doing it, I'm not gonna give you a second chance because I already talked to you. If I need to explain you and I told you don't do it, and you keep doing it. So it's for me is if your staff they know what they have to do, the protocol and policy, what you have to give them a chance. Why I'm saying this? Because then something happened, you and your team have to stop whatever you're doing to fix that problem, the situation. And then you have when you have your agenda full, you have a full job to do. So you have think you have to push it back to fix that problem because your staff didn't follow the protocol and policy. I'm sorry. We're here to educate our students and help each other, not babysitting no one. So that's the way.
I have a suggestion to make. Which is that having clearly established the policy, which we talked about last spring, that there has to be some understanding, and I'm not quite sure how this works, so I'm just throwing this out. But, in the scheme of things, there's, there's a 1, 2, 3 in discipline, there's progressive discipline, there's just cause. But at some point, if there are repeat offenders violating this rule within your administrators, they may need to know that a suspension will be revoked if they don't follow procedure.
And this discussion that's going to be had as well.
Failure to follow procedure,
We give it to you.
well, the suspension will be revoked.
And we can definitely do that. And
Uh-huh.
so that's, we have the discretion to overturn.
So,
but we haven't done that, because I think that's a deeper discussion that needs to be had as well.
That's fine.
no, it's like, come on, guys, we got the rules. When you suspend somebody, you have to send home a paper with the student to know the why. And if you fail to do that, then the suspension is.
But because when the parents come back, we gotta tell the parent, you're right. And what we had to do, that's the great.
You're supposed to call the parent for, you can't just send a paper copy with the.
Policy said that
What we have, are people,
Yeah.
kids going home.
That's the point, they don't follow the law.
They don't know.
They don't follow the policy. So when the parents come angry, we have to say, you're right.
we'll make sure the document.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We're trying to prevent. Yes, so.
I guess what I would say is that I, as chair of this committee, would consider a policy to invoke something like that if we can't follow the existing policy.
By years. All about accountability.
Right. And I say that as a former union president, that we just need to all follow the rules. And so I think that, there may be circumstances on which it is not the employee's fault. But there are certainly 90% of the time, the rules should be followed. So,
It's gonna, I apologize, sir. It's gonna be like, parents come to us, talk to us. We don't like it, we get upset, and then we come to you. Why the reason you're gonna be, oh my God, why my staff is doing this? So that's the moment we can tell nothing to stop. That's what we tell you. So it's like your agenda, you fall so many things, you have to stop what you're doing to figure out and fix that problem. So they don't make sense because they have to understand we all fall, we do a lot of things, we try to do the best I can for the short time you're here. We try to do the best I can. So for me, it's not fair that staff is not following the protocol policy. It's the law.
but having said that, then let me be very clear, having been the president of the union, there are times when a parent will come to us and they won't have the full picture.
Mhm.
So I know that, so we have to make sure that we are being fair and even-handed both ways. And that is, you get a parent that comes to you and says, blah, 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 and that's not the whole picture.
Yeah.
And so we have to make sure that we're being even-handed. And so it is his job to make sure, or their job to make sure that they talk to the administrator and make sure they hit both sides and then make a decision about who's been negligent.
And also not be suspended for 10 days for something is not obvious. That's either. So he's suspended for 10 days. Be sure it's something seriously. I'm telling you. So I'm ready for the war. Okay?
Well,
Because I know parents that come and say, Mr. Benjamin or Mr. Traver or whoever, they suspend my kid because he said he don't want to go, we don't want to do it. Because he throw the paper, because he throw the computer, suspended for 10 days. That's not a reason. So
anybody follow the news this week? Lansing this year? Got, expelled? says, he was disarming a student and, he was expelled. He disarmed another student and we took the gun apart. And he got expelled and they said they did a full investigation and the child was expelled. So, look, it's not always clear. And I don't know anything more than the headline in a quick article I read, but, these things are not always easy. And so we just have to make sure that we try our best to be even-handed. And that's what we gotta do. And we can't come in because one person comes to us and says they were wrong. Assume that that's right, whether it's a staff or a student or a parent. It is their job to make sure that we are being fair. And we have to all of us who get approached by somebody, make sure that we try and be fair. Got it right there. Okay, I got it right here. It's sitting right here. Look at me in the eye. Okay. So I have one other item on the agenda, and we are not gonna get to it tonight. As I want to have a fuller discussion, but let me just summarize, and then I'm gonna take a motion to the table. But PJ is here and, Mr. Postolowski, I see you online. The last item on the agenda was a discussion, on technology. As I understand it, Mr. Sikalovic, who has joined us again, I think. Yeah, he's right there on the bottom right. Mr.
Yes, he
Sikalovic.
is.
I got eyes, Mr. Medina. I can see him. He's there. Mr. Sikalovic is back, but he's not showing his face, but his presence is known. Mr. Sikalovic was made aware of a memo that was sent out about the possibility of us not having one-on-one laptops in the next year. I know that we have been made aware that our laptops are, the state of our laptops are declining. So we had hoped to have a full discussion on that tonight. Mr. Postolowski is here for that reason. And so I am going to ask Mr. Benahan to give me a motion to table this discussion until our next meeting, for a full discussion on where we're at on our laptops, Mr. Postolowski. Because the memo that Mr. Sikalovic was made aware of said that we would have definitely one-on-one high school laptops next year, but that may not be the case with kindergarten through 8th grade. So can I have the motion to table till the next meeting? I'll second that motion. And we will have that item on our agenda at the next meeting. All in favor of the table? Aye. And is there any other business that we need to deal with tonight? Then I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So,
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Records show that we are adjourning at 7:13. Thank you very much.
God bless you all.
Everybody, Mr. Wood, Mr. Woodson, sorry, I didn't see you were back. Thought you had left. All in favor, aye. Mr. Woodson, you're voting yes. We
Yes,
move-
aye.
Thank you very much. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.